Welcome to the For the Love of the Game podcast with Johnny K. This is episode 19, Stories from the Rink and a Special Olympian. In this episode, John relives some stories from the rink and exciting moments he's seen over the years. Also, stay tuned to the end of the episode for a special shout out to a Paralympian from Fergus, Ontario, who's competing in the Milano Cortina 2026 Paralympic Winter Games. Let's get into it.
For the love of the game, we rise, we play.
Episode 19, I'm John Collius from For the Love of the Game, and you're listening to my podcast, and I really appreciate that. Have a lot of fun doing the podcast. Before we get started, podcast brought to you by Stay Social, Feel Good. Stay Social, new cans will be available in April. I can't wait to show you them. Really excited about that, and we can talk about that more next month. But new cans are in the mix, and they're our official sponsor of our podcast. What are we going to talk about today? We're going to jump into our rink tours. I mentioned last month we talked about rink tours. I was in Winnipeg, visited 4 rinks. The goal there was to sample, are we able to get some connections outside of Gray and Bruce? Beyond this area, is there anyone that cares about For the Love of the Game? And I think there is. Our goal is to stretch out through Ontario and eventually get across Canada. Our first trip was Winnipeg. That was successful, and we're going to keep doing it. How long is it going to take a guy like me to get across Canada and to get to all these rinks that people are putting in our comments? Could be 30 years, could be longer. But it's a pretty cool goal. I enjoy doing it, and I can see myself doing that, going to different rinks in the future. So for me, it's about memories, community, and promoting For the Love of the Game. It all fits into the brand. And next month, which is March, you'll be watching this in March, but I will be on my way to Flin Flon, Manitoba. Never heard of Flin Flon before until about 3 years ago on my TikTok. We did a rink tour, and someone mentioned you should go to Flin Flon on the Manitoba-Saskatchewan border. I'm going. It's the Whitney Forum. The Flin Flon Bombers play there. That's a junior hockey club. I'm going to catch a game on the Tuesday. I'm going to do a rink tour, and then there's a couple rinks in the area. One that's about 15 minutes away, and that puts me into Saskatchewan, so I can check that off the list in the Great Canadian Rink Tour. Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. And I just can't wait to get out there, connect, and just build some more momentum for the brand. So that's the plan. That's the vehicle. I first noticed with rink tours that we had a connection. It was in Brussels. I was watching Charlie play. I took a 15-second video of some sites in the Brussels Arena, which is newly renovated, by the way. It looks really nice there. New lobby. But back when I did the first rink tour, they hadn't done the renovation yet. But what did I think of right away? I think of when I played Junior C for the Montfort Patriots, playing the Brussels Bulls, Captain Greg McNeven, head coach Scotty Pettigrew, and I mentioned that in the 15-second video, and when I posted it, boy, did we get lots of response, lots of comments, and that's when I thought maybe we were onto something, and it's all about, memories. Every building holds a memory, and it's all about just talking about them, sharing them on social media, and that's why the tour matters, in my opinion. Spreading the brand and just talking with people about it. So that was Brussels. That was my first rink. The second rink that brings a memory to me is that a lot of people wanted me to go to Stratford, the Almond. I'd already been to Stratford. First time I was 16 years old, and I was watching my good buddy Paul Galbraith play. He was a 16-year-old playing for the Guelph Holiday Platers, Junior B hockey. It was a playoff game. I was there. I was sitting behind the Stratford net, near side corner, so to the right of the goalie. There was a timeout. The game was tied, and there was 6 seconds left in the clock. Okay, here's the memory that I think of every time I go to the Almond. How the Culletons went 180 feet approximately and scored within 6 seconds with a D-zone face-off. Okay? I didn't even think that was an option. I thought Guelph was going to try to shuffle the puck to the net, maybe bang one in to win. The Culletons had different thoughts that night. They win the draw. Strong side D just hammers the puck around the boards, and it's going far blue line John Bosio was his name. You can fact check that for me. Stratford Culleton. He was quick and fast. I think he played in the NCAA after with a scholarship. He made it to that far blue line. The Guelph goaltender kind of caught an eye of what was going on. He races out to the blue line trying to meet that puck. Doesn't get the puck. Bosio scores. Culletons win game 1. And that's it. The rest is history. But 6 seconds. There's a memory that I'll never forget. A Howick Arena. Brad Murray reminded me. I was trying to think of this gentleman's name in my last podcast. Captain for the Howick Bantams, 88-89. Steve Gibson. Cooperall's number 5. A bullet of a shot. Playing the Mahood Lumber Kings in the final. But when I think of Howick, the Howick Rink, which I just did a rink review last week, that memory comes to mind for me. And then a new memory for me is the Rockland Arena, just down the road on my way to Meaford. My buddy Grant Murray goes, John, you got to check out this rink. 1, because it's old school. 2, it's because they run a community hockey program out of there. And if you want your kid to play, you don't have all the equipment, you just show up and you reach into a box and a gentleman gives you shin pads or shoulder pads or extra pair of skates. And then you go out there and you just play for fun. And it was one of the coolest things I ever saw. Kathy was with me. We pull into the rink. And besides never being in that rink, they had a low ceiling. It was really cool. But what stood out the most was there's about 4 or 5 volunteers on the ice. Kids were playing shinny. They all had same colored jerseys, 2 teams. And the buzzer would go every 3 minutes. Every 3 minutes, 9-year-olds would go out. They'd play shinny for 3 minutes. The buzzer goes. 12-year-olds, then 15-year-olds. Everyone had a smile on their face. I was there. A gentleman comes in with his son, comes to the rink attendant. Hey, my kid wants to come out, but he needs skates and a helmet. No problem. Next 10 minutes, he's out on the ice. He's having a blast. So that community rink program I've never seen before. Kind of in Clifford, I think they had like a hockey roots program or a grassroots program. I feel this is the same thing, but it's not a, it's not a like a schedule and the time commitment and a WhatsApp app, chat group for the parents, and no one's running the clock. It's just volunteers, kids playing shinny for a couple hours, and they go home with a smile on their face. I bumped into a mom that was there, and they had just moved back to the area from Kenora, and she told me that her son wanted to play hockey, he wanted to be a goaltender, so they came to Rockland. No guarantees you're going to be able to play goal, because if you show up and there's more goalies there, you might have to put the out gear on. But that particular day, he was there for the 8 o'clock group and then the 9 o'clock group. And that's what she said the challenge was. I've been here 4 hours, because after the 9 o'clock group, the 10 o'clock group didn't have a goalie. He stayed. And the 11 o'clock group, that's when I showed up, and so on. So that type of hockey, and then just kids playing, for the love of the game and the memories and the community and all that type of stuff. That's what I love. And that's why the rink tours matter for me. So that's why we're going to continue to do them. I'm really excited about getting to Flin Flon. I can't wait to tell you about that next month. And, rink tours is going to be a big part of our brand moving forward, for sure. Another part of our brand is our podcast. And I'm excited to tell you that this week I have a meeting with my producer and my friend, Adam Oliveira. We've been working together on the podcast. He had some ideas on how we can improve things, the sound, the lighting, the whole setup, and the ability to have guests. Some guests, some sound. That was exciting because I love the podcast, and Adam believes in the podcast too. And we're going to meet this week, and we're going to talk about how we can make it better. So stay tuned for that. Life lessons today. I always like to talk about life lessons. Charlie, my son, we laugh sometimes because I'll say something to him and I'll say, son, it's a life lesson. And then sometimes he's a bit of a smart ass, which is okay. That's what 16-year-olds do, and something will happen. He goes, hey, Dad, was that a life lesson? And I tell him, get the heck out of the car. But, it's all in fun. But for real, life lessons are important, and I remember them sometimes, especially when it comes to business. Business life lesson I remember from 30 years ago, one of the greatest things that was ever told to me, and it was, there's always enough for everyone. There's always enough for everyone. And that comes into fruition when I was stressed out And I had been taking some of my product and some of my team business to a business that would do my embroidery. And then one day I decided, well, maybe I should buy my own embroidery machines. Yeah, maybe that would help my business evolve. At the time, my good friend Deb Becker, PM Graphics, started out in Newstead. Then they evolved to Ayton. Deb, good friend of mine, haven't seen her in years. She runs a orchard right now, Phil Singers, with her two sons, Corey and Sean. Another individual's part of that too. But it's the four of them running the business. But Deb Becker, you had some solid business advice for me about 25 years ago, and it has stuck with me to this day. I use it all the time. I remember the conversation, Deb. I walked in and I bought 2 embroidery machines, and I was telling you, listen, Deb, I won't be able to bring my embroidery work to you here anymore. I'm really sorry, and I was apologizing, and I was anxious, and I was afraid of what you were going to think. And you just stopped me right there, and you said, there's always enough for everyone, John. And right there made me think, you're right. There's always enough for everyone. And the moral of the story is you can't stress about, things like that. You have to stay in your lane. You have to do good work, and everything else works out. So Deb wasn't stressed that I wasn't going to bring my work to her anymore, because she knew, and she followed the rule, there's always enough for everyone. When my work wasn't coming in, other work would come in. They're always busy. And even after 30 years of business, I get anxious and I struggle sometimes when it comes to, hey, are we going to get this tender? Are we going to get this quote? Oh, I hear someone's doing this or someone's doing that. And then I have to slap myself. I'm like, smarten up. There's always enough for everyone. And that comes from Deb Becker. And I'll never forget that lesson, Deb. I'm going to come see you someday. It's been a while. It's been too long, but great business advice. And you know what? If you're listening and you're part of something, maybe you're a carpenter and you work for a business and you want maybe to go out on your own. You want to get your own truck and put your business name on it. You want to get after it. There's always enough for everyone. You have to be able to make that decision and not feel bad. And trust me, I always felt bad, or I worried too much about that. But, put the blinders on, do good work, and everything else falls into place. So thanks again, Deb, for the lesson. I'll never forget that. Great lesson. My Sunday morning hockey, I never talk about my hockey career because it's only Sunday mornings, and sometimes I think it doesn't matter. But just want to let you know that I scored a goal last week. The last 3 weeks, I didn't score the week before, but the week before that, I scored 2 goals. And I scored last week. And I want to tell you, I don't care if you're 50 or you're 10, you score a goal, you pumpernickel. You pumpernickel, and then you go down their bench and you point at them, because they traded me, to be honest with you. I didn't want to bring it up because I was a little mad about it. But I'm always on the blue team. And then for 2 out of the last 3 weeks, the boss, we'll call him Doc, said I have to put a white jersey on. I don't like wearing the lights. I like wearing the dark shirts. I feel like I look sleeker in the black jersey instead of the white. But anyways, I turned it up a notch, and I scored the first goal. First shift, step on the ice, boom, goal, down the bench. And I reminded them that they traded me. And then my buddy, Nelly, got in the way. I was really cooking down low, top of the circle. And my buddy Nelly had his head down. I had my head down too. And he caught the 308 train, just steamrolled him, ran him right over, and somehow I was laying right on top of him. And then I decided to throw in a couple steamrolls, just for good measure. I thought maybe he cracked his ribs, but he didn't. I talked to him, and he's going to be back Sunday. But old-timers hockey, if you haven't played in a long time, and you think you might want to, go play. I know there's a lot of my buddies that aren't playing, and they don't want to play, but I think you just have to get going, get going once or twice, and then you'll get the groove, because it's all the same guys and it's all the same stories. They just change. We embellish them a little more, as we get older, we kind of stretch it out a bit, but they're all funny stories. And for me, it's the hockey, sitting in the room after, shooting the breeze, and then going home and posting on my social media that I scored, because it's important. People have to know that I still got it. But I want to play with Charlie someday. there's been a couple opportunities that I could have been out there to play shinny because my nephew Chris has a Wednesday night group, and a couple times he said, hey, you guys can both come. And then I'll say, hey, I'll go, okay. And then Charlie will say, you know what, Dad, I don't feel like going. I'm like, okay. And then I say, well, I don't feel like going either. And then Charlie says, hey, Dad, I think I'm going to go. I don't know. Sounds like he doesn't want me to go. I think I might embarrass him because I'll probably blow by him. I'm fast, and I might even probably throw a shoulder into him too. So probably smart move for Charlie not to want me there. But that's all about For the Love of the Game. Yeah, it's all about the brand. It's all about having fun. It's all about selling water, stay social, new cans coming next month. It's all about going to Flin Flon, Manitoba and doing a rink tour just because. It's all about having aspirations to go across Canada and build the brand. And it's all about For the Love of the Game and rink tours. So that's what I'm about. I'm Johnny K. You just listened to episode 19. I can't wait to connect with you next month. Fun fact or important thing before I forget, Maddie Mullen, cross-country skier, Paralympics from Fergus, Ontario. She's representing Canada at the Paralympics in Italy. She's one of our athletes, and I'm so pumped. I got goosebumps. I can't wait. And I'll talk about that in April's podcast, but she'll be there in March competing. So if you get a chance, turn on the TV. You can root her on. Maddie Mullen is doing great work for us in representing our country. I'm Johnny K. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you next month. Cheers.
For the love of the game, we rise, we play.